For 20 years, I hid my wealth from my family, not because I wanted to be mysterious or noble, but because every time money came up, they acted like I somehow owed them for being born. I told them I was broke, jobless, drowning in debt. They nodded, smiled, and then celebrated behind my back. They sold my old furniture in a garage sale like vultures picking at a corpse. They joked about my permanent loser phase over Thanksgiving dinner. They even started a GoFundMe titled "Help Bury Our Deadbeat Sibling," and they thought I'd never know. But everything they did, every lie, every laugh, every knife to the back, I saw it all. Because I had cameras in every box, every storage unit, every abandoned space they raided. Then during their annual holiday toast, I logged into my secret bank app, looked them dead in the eye, and hit send. This is the story of how my family failed the simplest loyalty test and how losing them became the greatest blessing of my life. My name is Jordan. I'm 45 years old, single, and for the first time in my life happy. But it took $8 million and a whole lot of pain to get here. I wasn't born with money. In fact, my parents spent my entire childhood telling me how expensive I was. My sister Kayla got everything: dance classes, braces, designer clothes. My brother Nate, he got sports camps, first car, college tuition. Me, I got hand-me-downs, be gratefuls, and a childhood version of "we'll see," which everyone knows means no. When I graduated high school, my parents told me, "Don't expect college money. You're not an investment. You're a liability." Those words burned into my bones, so I worked. I clawed my way through community college, then a state school, then a tech startup. I built a few apps in my 20s, nothing big, but in my 30s, everything clicked. A SaaS tool for small businesses exploded. Then a stock market AI assistant I built during the pandemic went viral. Then I bought equity in a little social analytics engine that got acquired for 7 figures. By 40, I was worth $8 million. Quiet money, no flashy cars, no fancy house, just a small apartment, thrift store clothes, and a reliable Honda. Why? Because I learned early that when my family smelled money, they acted like sharks. For 20 years, I played the role of the struggling one. It kept them away, and weirdly, I liked the peace. But then my dad died, and everything changed. His will was simple: Kayla gets the house, Nate gets his business tools, my mom keeps the savings, and me, no inheritance for Jordan. They never amounted to anything. That's what he wrote. My mom read it out loud in front of everyone. No hesitation, no compassion, just a shrug like I was a defective toaster she was returning without a receipt. Something in me snapped, not anger, not sadness, clarity. If my family saw me as worthless without money, what would they do if they thought I had nothing at all? I decided to find out. I told my family I'd been laid off. My business was failing. My debts were piling up. I said I was selling everything, including my storage unit. Kayla blinked twice and immediately opened Zillow. Nate's eyes gleamed like Christmas morning. My mom said, "Well, maybe you'll finally learn humility." But here's where the fun began. Inside that storage unit, no furniture, no junk, just decoy boxes filled with fake financial documents and harmless old tech hardware, all rigged with tiny cameras feeding directly to a cloud server. I set the bait. Walked away and waited. It took them 48 hours. I watched from my apartment as my family used MyKey, a key I accidentally left behind, to raid the storage unit like pirates who found a treasure chest. Kayla filmed herself digging through the boxes. Kayla, "OMG guys, look at this. Jordan kept all these old bills and debt letters. They're literally drowning in failure." Nate held up one of my fake rejected loan documents and laughed so hard he snorted. "Nate, damn, imagine being this useless at 45. My mom didn't say anything at first. She just sighed dramatically, the way only mothers can. Then she whispered, "Well, maybe we should sell this stuff. Nothing here is worth keeping." Sell. My stuff, boxes full of nothing, but to them, symbolic of my failure. They were practically giddy. 2 days later, Kayla posted a GoFundMe titled, "Help Bury Our Deadbeat Sibling. My sibling has hit rock bottom and refuses to help themselves. We're raising money to put them up somewhere so they don't end up on the street." They raised $612, not to help me, to help themselves look like heroes. They even made TikToks about having to rescue the family disappointment. I watched every second of it on my hidden cameras. Instead of crying, I plotted. Remember how I built little apps back in the day? Well, watching my family tear me apart gave me an idea. What if I created an app that used AI to analyze texts, voice notes, group chats, and social posts to detect manipulation, lies, financial scams, and two-faced behavior? So I built it. I called it KarmaCam. The app could sync with a user's cloud accounts with permission, scan for red flags, and create visual reports that exposed patterns of betrayal. I fed my family's GoFundMe messages, TikToks, and group chats into the system. It generated a case study so brutal I had to laugh. A week after launch, 1 million downloads. Turns out people love catching their own toxic relatives in 4,000 emotional fraud. I anonymized the footage from my hidden cameras, faces blurred, voices altered, but anyone who knew my family would recognize the mannerisms, the phrases, the outfits. Suddenly, my family's worst moments were being used as demo clips in ads that ran everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, podcasts, and the monetization, beautiful, passive income for life. My family didn't know, not yet. But the panic began when one of Kayla's wedding vendors emailed her. "We saw your KarmaCam case file online. We are canceling services." Then Nate went to a job interview. The recruiter used KarmaCam, his social posts flagged as mocking a financially struggling sibling, exploiting family tragedy. He didn't get the job. My mom's reverse mortgage paperwork, also flagged. Turns out she lied to the bank about her income. KarmaCam picked it up instantly. Now guess who they called me? The deadbeat, the liability, the failure. Black Friday, the most American holiday there is. My family called me back to back to back. 11 calls, 32 texts. 5 voicemails from my mother that all started with "Jordan honey," which told me she was about to manipulate me in full grandma voodoo mode. Kayla cried into the phone, "My wedding is falling apart. Nobody trusts me." "KarmaCam is ruining my life," Nate yelled. "Take that footage down. It's defamation. It's illegal." My mom, she whispered, "We know you're hurting. We're family. Family helps family." I wanted to laugh. Family helps family. Where was that energy when they sold my stuff at a garage sale? Where was that when they mocked me online? Where was that when my father declared me a failed investment? I didn't answer. I let them marinate in the consequences they cooked themselves. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, I finally replied, "Come to the house at 7 p.m. I have something to show you." They arrived dressed like they were attending a reading of my will. Kayla had mascara tears already drying on her face. Nate looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. My mom clutched her pearls so tight I thought they'd pop. I sat at the head of the table, calm, peaceful. A man who finally had the upper hand. "Jordan," my mom began softly, "we just want to make things right." Kayla leaned forward. "If you just delete the app footage." I raised my hand. "No," I said. "Tonight is about honesty." I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, turned the screen around. $8 million displayed in clean, bold digits. Their jaws dropped in perfect synchronized confusion. "I was never broke," I said. "I was never drowning. I was never failing." They stared at me like they were trying to calculate potential inheritance in real time. Kayla whispered, "So, you lied to us. You failed the test," I replied. "And you documented your failure beautifully." Their faces turned ghost white. "You laughed at me, used me, humiliated me, exploited me for clout, raised money off pretending I was dying." My mom tried to stand. I put my hand on the table. "This is the last dinner we will ever share." Kayla gasped. Nate swore. My mother actually cried. I continued, "My wealth stays hidden from you." Then I hit send. The funds transferred not to them, but to charity, community funds, and the people who actually stood by me, my true family. And then I walked out of the house, for the first time in my life, free. I spent that Thanksgiving not with the people who shared my DNA, but with people who shared my values. I hosted a live stream called Real Thanksgiving. Hundreds of KarmaCam users joined. People who'd cut off toxic parents, people who rebuilt their lives, people who chose better. And I realized something: blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does, love does, decency does. My final text to my biological family was simple: "The test is over. I wish you healing but not access." And I blocked them. Everywhere I thought I'd feel empty, but instead I felt whole, because here's the truth. Sometimes the only way to protect your peace is to burn the bridge behind you. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to watch the flames light your brand new path.